This is Insta360's latest 360 camera, the X4. Now at this point in time, there are a ton of reviews about this thing. So in today's video, I just want to go over my experience using this camera for the past 3 months strictly as a vlogging and behind the scenes camera. Quick disclaimer, Insta360 did send this product to me in exchange for a review video. Now they're not paying me for it and they're not telling me to only say the good things about it. So you'll hear the good and the bad. These are still my opinions, but I just wanted to be upfront with you so you can take that information how you need to and decide if you want to keep watching this video or not. I've been using the X4 for about 3 months now. My main use case for it is vlogging and behind the scenes style shots that I post on this channel and also on my other social media accounts. The timing of them sending me this camera was kind of perfect because I was in the middle of a stadium tour that I've been on since April. So every single weekend I've been traveling to a new state, which meant I was able to bring this out and kind of had some fun with it and really test it out and see how it felt using it as a vlog camera. Real quick, here are the key specs. You get 8K up to 30 frames a second and 4K up to 100 frames a second, and you can shoot 72 megapixel still images. Now 8K is cool, but I find myself just shooting in 5.7K because I'm using this as a vlog camera primarily, and I'm not always just outside in these very bright, vibrant areas. Sometimes I'm in lower light situations, and the 5.7K option is just a little bit better in low light, even though honestly overall this is not really that great in low light. Initially, the one thing that I really liked about it was just how low-key it is when walking around places in public. For me, filming myself in public has always kind of been an issue. It's something that I've never really been comfortable with, and slowly I've gotten better with it. But the ability to just stick this camera up and capture everything as I'm walking through an airport with a bunch of people around just helped me feel a little more comfortable when shooting. In the settings, you can turn off the tally lamp, which is the red record light indicator. You can turn that off, and then you can turn the screen off, so you're literally just recording with a camera that looks like it's turned off. But I'm grabbing a bunch of cool angles as I walk to the airport and getting the shots that I wanted to get for these vlogs. Now, the ability to capture everything all at once is obviously very helpful when filming these things. However, there are some things that you need to keep in mind when shooting with the 360 camera, like making sure the main subject of your frame is not getting cut off by the stitch point of the two lenses. For example, when I had this mounted to my camera as a BTS camera, I had it tilted in a way that the stitch point of the camera's two lenses was cutting off my face, and it honestly made for some pretty entertaining stuff. But obviously you don't want that, especially if you're shooting a vlog, so that's something to keep in mind when you're filming. So the obvious sell of this camera is the fact that it's a 360 camera, but you can also use it in single lens mode, which basically just turns it into a traditional action camera. Alright, so here is the 360 mode shooting in 4K, 24 frames a second. Now I'm going to switch to the single lens mode right here. Alright, now I'm shooting in the single lens mode, 4K, 24 frames a second, and I did drop the exposure by 1 stop. If you look at these two clips, this is at 0, and this is at 1 under, and it just looks a little bit better. It matches better with the 360 shot. This looks pretty good to me. Honestly, I had to play around with it a little bit. I wasn't really a fan of that overly sharpened look, which you can tell this feels a lot more sharpened, like there's a lot more noise in the clip. But I think the benefit to having the single lens mode is just the ability to shoot like more of a traditional camera, and you can frame your shots a little bit better and set it up into certain situations where maybe the 360 camera look doesn't really fit. One big factor for any camera, whether it's a vlog camera or not, is the battery life. The website says you can record up to 135 minutes at 5.7K, and using this thing, I never felt like I was running low on juice. It also probably helped that most of the time I was recording, I was turning off the screen just because I didn't really have to deal with framing stuff. But when I was running around the city, like in New York, recording stuff, I didn't have any way to charge this. We were out shooting for probably like 2 or 3 hours, and I think I came back to the hotel with still like 40% battery left. So the battery on this definitely lasts a long time, and you can also swap them out. So if you're really just going non-stop with this thing, it's probably a good idea just to have maybe an extra or 2 extra batteries on hand just in case. Here's a quick test of the onboard microphone. Honestly, I'm super impressed with how good it sounds for being just a little pinhole microphone built into the camera. I used it in a ton of situations like the noisy streets of New York.
This city just brings a lot of joy. I don't know, it brings a lot of creativity.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
And walking around in Arizona. Yeah, so it is 102 degrees outside right now, and it's not too bad. I love this desert heat. and every time I was very impressed with how it held up. Now, 360 footage is great. It's capturing everything all at once. You can reframe your shot later and pick what you want to see, but how do you do that? There's a lot on the back end that you have to do versus a traditional single lens camera. The two main ways to do this are in the Insta360 mobile app and the Insta360 Studio. This is their native software that allows you to process your 360 clips and use their AI tracking and all of their keyframing to create those 360 looks. And it's honestly probably the easiest way to create your 360 look, but that's not necessarily always feasible. Whenever you're cutting videos together, you want to have the ability to extend a clip, cut it down, change things kind of in the moment. So you want that raw footage. So the next best thing to use is Insta360's plugin that you can install for Premiere Pro. And this allows you to do all of your keyframing and different adjustments within your editing software. I edit in DaVinci Resolve primarily now. So Insta360 doesn't have a plugin made for DaVinci Resolve yet, and that's kind of a bummer. But I did find this third-party plugin that works really well called KVR Reframe. I'll put a link in the description if you are a DaVinci Resolve editor. It's not ideal, but it's a lot better to have that flexibility for reframing your shot and tracking it. The downside is that you have to export all of your shots in Insta360 Studio. So instead of being able to grab those native files and just putting them in your editing software, you have to open up Insta360 Studio, export the 360 video, and then pull that into DaVinci Resolve. There's just a little bit more on the back end there that I don't really like, so I actually, for this video, am switching over to Premiere and editing all of this footage in Premiere, and it's much easier to do it that way. So all of that kind of sounds like a lot of work, right? Why wouldn't you just shoot on a normal camera if you're shooting vlogs? Well, I think that the benefit to a 360 camera is just the flexibility that you have. The flexibility to get cool, creative shots that you typically couldn't get with a traditional camera. Now, I'm not saying that this should just replace your camera altogether, but I think it is a very cool tool to have to be able to get those shots that are just out of the ordinary. And there were plenty of situations when using this camera where I was out and about filming and I didn't feel like I needed to have my camera with me. That's going to be it for this video. I hope that you found it helpful. I know this was not a technical review, but if you're familiar with my channel, you know I don't really do technical reviews. I like to review a product from the standpoint of what I'm actually going to be using it for, and in this case, this is exactly what I've been using it for the past 3 months. If you did find it helpful, be sure to like this video, say hello in the comments, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'll see you all in the next one.